Hi there and welcome along. Today we're looking at the story of the ABC in Kirkcaldy in Scotland. So here we go. But long before it was ABC, the building at 260 the High Street in Kirkcaldy was originally the King's Theatre. It was designed by John D. Swanson of Kirkcaldy and William Williamson. It was constructed at a cost of £20,000, which was a fortune in those days. It opened on the 14th of November 1904 with the Ben Greet Company's production of Florodora. It was officially opened by John Barry. No, not that one. John Barry JP of Binocry. Seating was provided for a total of 2,400, of which 200 were located in the stalls, 800 in the pit behind the stalls, 400 in the circle, and 1,000 in the gallery, and there were 10 boxes as well. Before he was famous, our very own Charlie Chaplin is said to have performed there. By 1908 the King's Theatre had closed and was reopened with new owners as the Hippodrome Theatre. Half of the proceedings of the opening night were given to Kirkcaldy Cottage Hospital. Films began to be screened as part of the programme on the bioscope machine. In May 1909 it was renamed the King's Theatre again, and in the following years films became the mainstay of programming, with occasional weeks only for live shows. On the 28th of December 1916 it was taken over by the CTC Picture House Limited and was renamed rather curiously the Opera House. In 1917 it changed owners again to Scottish Cinemas and Variety Theatres Limited. On the 18th of May 1925 organist A. Hamilton Wilding opened the newly installed Jardin Grand Orchestral Organ. The Opera House became the first provincial cinema in Scotland to install the Western Electric sound equipment at a cost then of £6,000, and Al Jolson in The Singing Fool played for 4 weeks from the 27th of May 1929. In 1937 the Opera House, now under the ownership of ABC, Associated British Cinemas, closed down for a major refurbishment. Architect Charles J. McNair was employed to redesign the cinema into an Art Deco style, and it reopened as the Regal Cinema in August 1937 with a seating capacity of 2,016. The opening film was Bing Crosby and Louis Armstrong in Pennies from Heaven. The Jardin organ was removed and sold to a church. It wasn't actually rebranded ABC until 1963. Here's a picture, this time Ben-Hur is showing, so it puts it at 1959. But why is the bus there? Are they coming to see Ben-Hur? Or are the staff having an outing? Let me know in the comments below. And another picture looks like a competition with a carpet sweeper and some cleaning materials being won. Do you recognise anyone in the photo? Please comment below. And another photo we haven't been able to identify at all. I think it's a staff photo, but I can't be sure. The manager is Douglas Adams, and he's in the bow tie, of course, and I suspect surrounded by his staff of cleaners, usherettes, box office and a couple of projectionists. If I'm wrong, or if you can put names to anyone, please remember them in the comments below. And in this photo from Jim Geddes, he says, "Here's a photograph from what I think may have been a Christmas party at the cinema for children of staff from around about 1970. Kneeling at the front is the general manager, Mr. Douglas Adams, and the lady on the right is my Auntie Greta, Margaret Frew, who was the manageress. The girl behind her is my sister, unfortunately he doesn't name her, and the girl behind her is my cousin Kay, who is Greta's daughter. My brother is also in the picture, but he doesn't name him either." And he says, "We used to go to the cinema every Saturday morning as kids to the matinee shows and continued to go to the cinema as young adults right up to its closure. It truly was a magical place and is sorely missed in the town." Now, the ABC was closed in October 1977 for conversion into a triple screen cinema with 547 seats in the former circle and 2 mini screens under the circle in the rear stalls, seating 287 and 235. All were operating again from the 29th of January 1978. And the first film screened at the new ABC, The Amsterdam Kill, with a AA rating starring Robert Mitchum, Crime Busters, an A certificate with Terence Hill, and Slapshot, complete with the famous X rating, now of course an 18 certificate. There was a competition to launch the new ABC 1, 2 and 3, a Charm Girls pageant run by the local paper, the Fife Free Press. It invited local women to be one of the 3 Charm Girls at the official launch, and the prize on offer included a trip to London and a tour of Elstree Studios. Each entrant not only listed their work and hobbies, but also their measurements. The 14 finalists were Front Row, Julie Hanson, Davina Reed, Joan Dolan; the Middle Row, Margaret Bloomfield, Vicky Sharp and Yvonne Mitchell; and the Back Row, Lynn Crooks, Wendy Roger, Doreen Henderson, Jill Hughes, Ros Sibold, Shelley Doig, Fiona Chalmers and Gwen Watts. Now, this picture was sent to us by one of our Facebook friends, and it looks like an old press photo, probably the Fife Free Press. We use it here with no copyright infringement intended and for nostalgia purposes only. The Ollerton Hotel hosted the cinema's launch and announcement of the winners, who were Shelley Dales, who worked at Hughes Microelectronics, Ros Sibold, a teacher, and Yvonne Whitehill, a special constable. The judging panel included Malcolm Burness, editor of the Fife Free Press, Sandy Clark, editor-in-chief, and Douglas Adams, the cinema manager. Later in the 1980s, Douglas Adams would win the coveted UK Champion Manager Award for his work at the ABC Kirkcaldy. What follows now are images that Barry Fimister sent me of the interior of all 3 screens at the ABC, taken in 1990, and really these alone form a really solid library for the ABC Kirkcaldy. Barry says, "I worked there as trainee projectionist in 1990 when I was 17. Before I left, I took photos of every one of the 3 screens. That building started a lifelong love of the movies in me. It was by far the best escape from real life, unmatched by today's soulless multiplexes." Now, one day I'd completed all prep work for the early showings, back when it was 35mm film, not like digital now. So to use my time productively, I proceeded to sit in every auditorium seat in all 3 cinema screens, thus making me the only person ever to sit in every auditorium seat at Kirkcaldy ABC Cinema. one Sunday, before digital cameras and phones, I used a Regal camera and took these internal photos to record my favourite place in the world. During the films, I investigated every inch of that building. I found loads of hidden rooms, even the original screen when it was a one-screen cinema before it was made into 3. Sadly, all the seats are gone now. I have so many memories of that cinema and a few stories to tell from when I worked there. I can't tell you how gutted I am seeing what's happened to it. Back to the story. In 1984, the building celebrated its 80th anniversary on Sunday, November the 19th, with an open day at the ABC, with all visitors invited to look around the cinemas, including the projection rooms. Free tea, coffee and biscuits were available, and free ice creams for all the children. In 1988, it was taken over by the Cannon Group and renamed Cannon. Then in 1993, MGM took it over, but not for long, quickly passing it to Virgin, before being taken back in a management buyout and renamed ABC again. It was then transferred to and operated by Odeon Theatres, which would in a very short time seal the fate of this fabulous cinema. On the 27th of February 1997, Historic Scotland designated the ABC a Grade B listed building. Now, Odeon Theatres opened a new 10-screen multiplex in Dunfermline in June 2000, and they saw fit to close the successful ABC Odeon Kirkcaldy on the 3rd of December 2000, just before its 100th birthday. Realising that Kirkcaldy ABC will be in competition with their new Dunfermline Odeon multiplex, they apparently, in the words of one contributor, ran the ABC Kirkcaldy into the ground. When Odeon closed it and put it on the market, the sale included a clause that it was not to operate as a cinema. They knew that the popular ABC would take away much needed custom from the new Dunfermline multiplex. I'm also informed that when the cinema was closed, they purposely cut the screens with knives, damaged the seats and removed the speakers, etc., just to be sure. Now, if that's true, some would say dirty tricks, Odeon. Others would say good business sense. I say, if it is true, shame on you, Odeon. Now, the old ABC remained closed and shuttered, and in 2016, the old King's Theatre ABC building was placed in the Theatres Trust Scottish section of their Theatre Buildings at Risk register. Since its closure in December 2000, several applications have been lodged to turn it into a pub and entertainment venue, but these have either been refused or withdrawn. But in late 2016, renovation work began on converting the old ABC once again into what would have been Fife's largest live theatre, arts and music venue, to be renamed once again back to the start, the King's Theatre, which was hoped to be completed in 2020. Preliminary work to make the building watertight and safe did commence, whilst further major funding was sought. Items found inside the building included old newspapers from World War II, as well as reels of old film from when the cinema closed its doors for the final time. However, the structure itself has slowly been giving up its secrets, with stained glass windows and delicate Art Deco styling touches, masked for decades by false walls, having been unveiled. The vision of the King's Theatre would have seen the 3 former screens returned to one large auditorium that would host an audience of between 1,750 and 2,000 people, while the former YWCA building next door would be adapted to form a high-end corporate event space and fine dining restaurant. Sadly, this did not come to fruition, and the former ABC continues to deteriorate badly. Gaping holes have appeared on the side of the roof, and the building is now in such a poor state that no one is allowed inside. Trustees and directors for the project who run the Esplanade Live venue in Kirkcaldy, which has carved out a niche as a great venue and community cinema, admit that the former three-screen ABC is now, as of June 2024, beyond economic repair. Despite efforts to make it wind and watertight, the interior is in such a fragile state, the only realistic option is to bring it down and open the site up to new development opportunities. Let's now look at the staff at the ABC Kirkcaldy. I've listed everyone who got in touch, I hope, but there is one name on a picture of projectionists at the cinema that I can't decipher. Here's the picture, and it is Edward somebody, I think. If you know him, please pop his name in the comments below. Thanks for that and all the comments you make and the names you reveal.
You enjoy the movies, like to know what the stars do on and off the set. It's good to know what's new. Then read all about it in the ABC Film Review. Collect those colored pin-ups of the guys and gals who send you. Hollywood gossip gets here right on cue. So read all about it in the ABC Film Review. The latest bits they write about, collectors corner they sad about. So many things to find out about. It's over to you in Film Review. Read all about the big time, what the big time stars all do. Every month just find at ABC Film Review. Every month just find Film Review.
Well, that's about it for this one. Please subscribe to the channel because that helps me a lot. Until next time, be good to each other and I'll see you soon. Ta-da!